This section contains lectures that discuss and demonstrate the Arduino Mega. In this lecture, I will introduce the Arduino Mega and describe its most important characteristics. Consider the Arduino Mega 2560 as a supersized version of the Arduino Uno. It is based on a larger relative of the Uno's Atmel 328P microcontroller, the Atmel 2560. It runs on the same clock speed so that all your time-dependent functionality will not be affected. The same voltage, so all your Uno shields will work, and the same instruction set, so all your existing sketches will just work. The Mega simply has a lot more of everything. More GPIOs, more serial ports, more analog inputs. It is the easiest advanced Arduino board to use for anyone who has started with the Arduino Uno. Let's check it out. Hi, in this lecture I will introduce the Arduino Mega 2560, which is the successor of the original Arduino Mega. The Arduino Mega is an AVR-based microcontroller board. It is basically an Arduino Uno on steroids. This is the Arduino Mega board, and when you compare it to the Arduino Uno, obviously you'll see that it's almost double the size, roughly double the size. It's got additional set of headers that expose the additional digital input-out pins of the Mega 2560 microcontroller in the middle of the board. Apart from the additional input and output pins, the Arduino Mega also has additional communications pins here, which I'll be demonstrating in a separate lecture in this section. Let's have a look at the features of the Arduino Mega 2560 in my comparison table. Just like the Arduino Uno, the Mega 2560 is an AVR-based microcontroller, no operating system. The Arduino Mega 2560 is the only Arduino board other than the Arduino Uno that runs at 5 volts. And that is significant because based on the fact that the board is based on an AVR microcontroller and that the operating voltage is 5 volts, it means that all of your Arduino Uno circuits, breakouts and shields should work just fine with the Arduino Mega. Unlike other boards like the Arduino 101 and the Zero, which run at 3.3 volts, you've got to be very careful about how you deal with the differences between the 3.3 volt operating board and any peripherals like shields, for example. Again, similarly to the Arduino Uno, the input voltage is 7 to 12 volts, and that is supplied from the power barrel connector with an external power supply. You can also supply power via the USB port, in which case it will be 5 volt regulated voltage anyway. Now this is where the Mega 2560 really shines. You get 54 digital input-output pins as opposed to 14 in the Arduino Uno, and 15 of them provide PWM output. In my example board here, you can see that this whole row of pins is PWM. You can compare that to the Arduino Uno, which only has a smaller number of pins that are PWM capable. In the additional header here, you've got the additional communications options. So in addition to the serial port, which is transmit and receive 0, you can see those here. These are the ones that also exist on the Arduino Uno. You have an additional 2 transmit and receive pair pins, so TX3, RX3, then TX2, RX2, and TX1, RX1 for a total of 4 serial ports. And then you also have your SDA and SCL pins. You've got lots of digital input and output pins in this vertical header here. All these are digital, not PWM capable. And then on the other side, you've got your row of analog pins. This is the only header available on the Arduino Uno, and that is extended with an additional header exposing analog pins on the Arduino Mega 2560. Alright, so that would be, I suppose, the advantage of the Arduino Mega 2560 is why somebody would want to use it. You basically have, as I said, an Arduino Uno on steroids. It operates in the same clock speed. So you've got your 16 megahertz clock speed, which means that all of your sketches that depend on timing will operate in exactly the same way as in the Arduino Uno, but you've got a lot more digital input-out pins plus the communications options. More about the communications options in a separate lecture, where I'll also give you a demo of using two of the hardware serial ports at the same time. So we've got 15 PWM pins and 16 analog input pins. The power output capability, current per pin, is the same as in the Arduino Uno, so you can source up to 20 milliamps of power per pin. That's quite a bit of current that you can send out from the digital pins. You can even drive a small relay with that. Memory, lots of memory available, again compared to the Uno. So where in the Uno you've got just 32 kilobytes of flash memory, which makes it hard to make the larger sketches fit once you take into account the space required by the bootloader. In the Arduino Mega you've got 256 kilobytes. There's plenty of memory available. 8 of those kilobytes are used by the bootloader. You can reduce that by using a more efficient bootloader. We can even remove the bootloader completely if you need the space. Static RAM, you get 8 kilobytes of that. EEPROM, 4 kilobytes instead of 1 kilobyte for the Arduino Uno. And as we said earlier, the clock speed of the board is 16 megahertz, which is the same as the clock speed of the Uno. So anything time sensitive will just operate in exactly the same way. The other big advantage down the bottom is that the Arduino Mega 2560 will accept pretty much all of the shields that the Arduino Uno uses. Okay, let's have a quick look at the schematic of the Arduino Mega 2560, and it's just a single page. Essentially, the Arduino Mega 2560 board is a breakout for the Atmel microcontroller. The two main components on the board are the Atmel 2560, the large chip in the middle of the board, and on the other side you have the Atmel 16U2. There's a little tiny chip here which takes care of the USB communications. So this chip is connected to the USB port and provides serial communications and programming services for the Atmel chip. Just like in the Arduino Uno, the USB port is also connected physically, wired to the TX0 and RX0 pins that are also broken out on this header here. On the schematic as well, you'll see the additional header. So this additional header is the vertical header here that exposes the additional digital input out pins. And then you've got the remainder 4 headers exposed here and here. So the Arduino Mega 2560 also has 6 interruptible hardware pins instead of just the 2 that the Arduino Uno has. And those pins, you can see from the documentation here, pins 2, 3, 18, 19, 20 and 21. Okay, with this introduction completed, let's go to the next lecture where I'll give you a demonstration of a couple of interesting sketches that show off the features of the Arduino Mega 2560.